It is very concerning to us that in order to achieve its vision, the strategic plan sets forth a governance system that seems to totally preempt local control of its land use, to the point where we think there's a risk that the local knowledge developed over generations is going to be lost. After all, it is the people of the Delta who have maintained those levees and who understand how the water flows in all kinds of weather and situations. And without that knowledge being brought to bear, I think we could set ourselves up for failure in the long-term goal. The people of the Delta understand the interrelationship of the islands and the levees better than I think anyone else, better than a modeler understands it. And we would like to have a commitment from others who benefit from our levee system to help us continue to maintain it. We also have a concern about how the water quality in the Delta may change to benefit the fisheries and the ecosystem, but in a way that may harm the continued viability of Delta agriculture.
Overall, we think the plan's a bold vision, and leadership is certainly being exercised. Perhaps our greatest concern is that there won't be the political will to follow through with its excellent recommendations. California has a history of not being able to deal with the water problems that we've recognized for over 40 years. The vision is a real step forward in clearing the air and getting all the real issues on the table, but history is going to have to judge whether we are capable in our governance systems of acting on the recommendations.
The proposal to build a canal around the Delta, a peripheral canal, causes special concern to me as an environmentalist. I understand why the water agencies that depend on moving water from north to south want a peripheral canal. They don't think the current system is dependable, and it may not be. There's a colorable argument that you can improve conditions for resident fish, such as the endangered Delta smelt and others, with a peripheral canal. But what that means for the many runs of salmon that swim up and down the Sacramento River, or for the Delta itself and the Delta communities, is highly questionable. And so there's a real challenge to address openly what a peripheral canal might do to the environment and to Delta communities, knowing that folks downstream sorely want one and feel the need one.
I think our biggest disappointment with the plan, and I would say with the process overall, is that the technical data just wasn't available in time for the task force to actually come up with a real plan. They came up with a lot of good elements of what should be included and how things should be considered when the data is really available. But in reality, the data is not there to today select what kind of changes to California's conveyance system we need, what kind of changes to California's storage system do we need, either for today or for the impending changes to the hydrograph with global warming. What kind of changes to the ecological plan for the Delta do we really need? How are we going to deal with the main things that are really problematic? Invasive species. I think there's a recognition that we need to deal with invasive species. When you look at the graphs of productivity in the water column and the invasive populations, it's obvious, but the data isn't there to really come up with a plan. How do you really deal with it? There are some ideas about how to start actions that would perhaps be adaptively managed to result in some progress there.
The Delta is the crossroads, not only for the water system of the state, but also for the Northern California economy. The highways, the utilities, infrastructure that goes through the Delta is irreplaceable. And so to the extent that Northern California is a part of the larger state economy, we are joined in our interest. The fact that it is clear that the challenges that we face cannot be met in the old style way of one interest or one region winning at the expense of another, I think that the vision and the strategic plan clearly sets out a goal of sustaining what we have now, and that cannot be at the expense of our natural resources. It has to be doing things smarter, and we need more partnerships across the entire state to achieve that.
The San Joaquin Valley and Southern California have an interest that we have a reliable water supply for the whole economy of the state. Our agencies are expecting to pay for the benefits they receive through the Delta Vision and other processes that deal with the Delta. And fundamentally, we'd like people to know that the independent studies, such as the Public Policy Institute's recent studies on Delta alternatives, point out that we can have both an improved ecosystem and a safe and reliable water supply if we deal with the conveyance issue in the Delta.
We're a national organization, and we have 100,000 members in California, from San Diego up to the Oregon border, in cities, in rural areas. The Delta and its solutions touch almost every part of the state. The rivers that feed the Delta, the watersheds that feed the Delta, and the communities that depend on getting water from the Delta. Californians overwhelmingly support a strong environment, and that's why so many of us live here. But we've got to worry about the economy too, and let's face it, we can conserve water, but we also need reliable supplies. So almost everybody's got an interest in the Delta, and almost everybody cares really about protecting the Delta if it can be done. And so that's why I'm committed, and Environmental Defense Fund is committed to finding a Delta solution that works broadly.
I think if I was to say something to the people around the state, I would say it's time for us to stop acting like regions of California and act like one California. I think that there is one plan that will probably serve us all the best in the long term, but all of us have to stop just looking out for our special interests. The people concerned about the environment can't just look after the environment. We have to look after water supply and the environment and the people who live in the Delta all at the same time.